Hello everyone, you're welcome to this Love, Intimacy and Family Network. I'm sharing with you this time on building emotional and physical intimacy in marriage. This is something that we all need at this time. This is something that is very essential at this time in human history. The first thing we want to ask ourselves is, what exactly is intimacy? Intimacy basically is closeness between two people. Now, when we talk about intimacy as regards physical intimacy is closeness by space. You are within the same environment by space. You are closer because you are restricted or locked up together in a particular space. It may be in the workplace, it may be in the room, it may be in the worship place, it may be at school, maybe in the neighborhood. So when we talk about physical intimacy, we are talking of being close physically by the provision of a space. Now, physical intimacy in marriage is getting a little more narrowed down to you being together as a couple now in a defined space, and you have some physical interaction. But then emotional intimacy in marriage is talking about being close by feelings, is getting a lot more involving when you become close by feelings. And in marriage, this also is very, very vital. So if I will define emotional intimacy in marriage, is basically a close connection between spouses, between two people, that will lead them to blending their hearts, and then is going to deepen their understanding of each other's feelings, and on the long run it will promote comfortability and openness to each other. So when you come into a relationship with another person, maybe particularly your spouse, that we are talking more of you and your spouse, you want to get to a point where you so much connect, and then your hearts are blended together, you have deep understanding of each other's feelings, you then totally get comfortable in that person's presence, and you are fully open. So that is intimacy when it comes to marriage. There are a lot of benefits from being intimate as couples, and we encourage all of us to take enough time to listen again to this and then inculcate them into our families. These are things we enjoy, or the benefits we derive from intimacy in marriage. Number one, intimacy strengthens the emotional connection between partners. When you are intimate, you become better connected as partners. You have emotional attachment to each other. Number two, intimacy promotes trust and leads to deeper level of communication and understanding. It promotes trust. The more intimate you become with your spouse, the more you trust the person, and the higher the level of your communication and comprehension or understanding of each other. This encourages partners to become more vulnerable with each other. You get more and more exposed. When we talk about vulnerableness here, we are not talking about of you endangering yourself, but you get so much more open that your spouse knows you into two. Number three, intimacy helps to build and maintain a strong and healthy sexual relationship. When you are intimate with your spouse, you get more and better in your sexual relationship. You enjoy the sex time more, and it gets richer because of your intimacy. And you know, sexual relationship is a key component of a satisfying marriage. A man that is not satisfied in the sexual aspect of the marriage will have problem. The same thing with a woman. that's not enjoying the sex as she expects, we have problem in that marriage. Then I'll go to number 4. Number 4, intimate couples are more likely to feel satisfied with their relationship, and they are less likely to experience feelings of loneliness and disconnection. When you are intimate with your spouse, you are not likely to complain that you are feeling neglected, you are lonely. Number 5, intimacy reduces stress and increases happiness and contentment in marriage. You get more contented and happier when you have an intimate relationship in your family. Number 6, intimacy helps couples to be more connected to each other, and it strengthens their bond. You get better bonded together when you are intimate with each other. Number 7, intimate couples handle conflicts and challenges better. Yes, when you are intimate as couples, you are able to resolve your conflicts in a better way because you don't want to hurt the other, and then even when there are hurts or offenses, you are quick to find solution to the hurts or the offenses. Not that intimacy will altogether eliminate conflict and challenges, no, but intimacy is going to help you to handle your conflicts and challenges better, and then you are better equipped for future recovery and conflicts. Number 8, intimate partners become more comfortable and open with each other after some time. The more you get intimate, the more open you become to your spouse, and gradually your spouse to you, you to your spouse. This promotes the openness more and more, and then the vulnerability. So these are key reasons why you need to ensure intimacy in your marriage. Now I'm going to talk about 3 essential ingredients for physical and emotional intimacy in the home. Number 1 is time. We live in a very busy world now. We are on a high speed because we have schedules to deliver, we have things to achieve, we have a lot going on around us, demands from workplace, demand from the society, demand from various organizations we belong to, and this is having negative impact on our intimacy in the home. Now, if you want to get intimate with your spouse, the number 1 thing that you have to work at is carving out time to be intimate. You have to make the time. The time is not going to make itself, it's not going to come naturally. You are going to make the time to be intimate, and that time, even for couples that make the time, they get home with the mind of getting intimate with their spouses, and then another thing comes up. They are busy with their phones, they're busy with their laptops, some are busy with the TV, some are watching the news, some are even paying attention to children. Now, if you have to spend the time on your spouse to get intimate, you must make sure that time is altogether dedicated to intimacy. And how do you do that? When you want to get intimate with your spouse, you switch off your phone. Switch off your laptop, the TV, the radio, put everything off and let your attention altogether be on your spouse. Either as a woman or as a man, the phone is robbing families of intimate times. Phone is really killing families. Number 2, under time, is stop bringing office work to do at home. And if you have to bring it home, it must not come up at the time you want to get intimate with your partner, with your spouse. When this is unavoidable, don't think of office work the moment you want to get intimate with your spouse. Give your spouse priority over your time when you are home. You will only go back to office work brought home after attending to your spouse. So many homes are broken because when the man gets home or when the woman gets home, she's still busy with office work, thinking, I have to deliver this, I have to deliver that. the period for intimacy should be altogether shut away from office work. Sometimes it could even be religious assignments from the church. That should not come in the way of your getting intimate with your spouse. Number 3 thing that disturbs our time of intimacy in the family is childcare. This is more common with the female folk. Women are usually children focused when they are at home, or even when away from home. Childcare should not be placed above giving your spouse the needed time. Seek the consent of your spouse before giving attention to them, particularly when your spouse needs your attention. Remember, children one day will leave you and you'll be left with the mess you made of your home. So let's be very careful. We should not allow our gadgets, our work, or the children to be a problem in culturing or cultivating an intimate relationship with our spouses. Now, number 2 thing, I've mentioned time. The second one is space. Physical space is very important in nurturing emotional intimacy. Why do people get more intimate with co-workers than spouses? It's simply because we spend much time within the same workspace. For emotional intimacy, there must be a space where no one can intrude. A space where your partner can call his or her own shrine, a sacred place that nobody can interfere, an altar of intimacy. Then, once you get inside, once 2 of you get inside the intimacy space, there should be no intrusion of any sort. It's a sacred place. This can be your private bedroom, a garden, a motel away from home, a workshop where only 2 of you can be at that time. There must be a private space to nurture your emotional intimacy. So you can see how dependent emotional intimacy is also on physical intimacy. A space. You need a space, you need somewhere you can both be alone and enjoy yourself. Number 3 thing you need for intimacy is trust. You have to trust to be trusted. Don't just expect this person will trust me. No, you have to trust first. Trust makes us to show our real selves and still feel safe. Trust makes us vulnerable. Adam and Eve were naked, open. Let's use the word open to represent that naked. Open, and they were not ashamed because they were totally intimate. If you are not ready to trust, don't expect to be trusted, and don't expect emotional intimacy. You cannot be emotionally intimate with someone you can't trust. Betrayal of trust does happen sometimes. We have to forgive and restore normalcy. Make yourself strategically vulnerable to earn your partner's trust. While you cannot force others to trust you, you can go ahead and open up yourself by trusting, and watch how this will gradually transform the other person into a trusting one. So for an intimate relationship, you have to trust until you are proved otherwise. Then you forgive when you are proved otherwise. And also, you trust again despite being proved otherwise. In a relationship, you cannot but trust. If you don't trust, or if you don't want to trust, don't get involved in a family. Now let me give you proofs of emotional intimacy in a family. Number 1 is openness. Emotionally intimate people have no barriers between them. Everyone becomes vulnerable to the other. You risk being known and being misunderstood, and also understood also. So it's a risk. But despite the risk, if you do it very well, if you are sincerely open, it's worth all the risk. You are free to be yourself before your spouse when you are emotionally intimate with him or her. Number 2 is honesty and compassion. Intimate couples are open to each other because of the level of honesty exhibited by them. If you want to get intimate with your spouse, then you have to be honest and relate with each other with personal feelings of consideration. You have to be compassionate. You have to treat the other person in your relationship like someone that is special to you. Treating your spouse like just any other person will not work, because anyone in a relationship wants to be treated specially. You cannot handle your husband like you handle just any other man. And you can't handle your wife too like you handle just any other woman. Everyone in a relationship deserves to be treated in a special way. Number 3 is forgiveness. A relationship that will last long cannot but have some times of offenses and disappointments. Couples must of necessity forgive with all sincerity. True forgiveness puts away future fears, suspicion, and doubt. These 3 elements are very obvious in relationships that are doing very well. Now, just before we round up, tell you how to build emotional intimacy in a family. Number 1 is you spend time together, quality time. You spend quality time together. With while you do this, you learn to touch each other, you caress your spouse. Sometimes you walk into your wife cooking in the kitchen, nothing stops you from touching her on the bum, just touching her on the boobs while she's busy in the kitchen. These things promote good intimacy. And you too, as a woman, your husband is sitting somewhere, why don't you just rub your hand on his cheek, touch his beard, touch him on the chest, and even give him a massage on the shoulder? This moment, this period of intimacy is not just sitting down. It's not for just sitting down like a log of wood, two religious people interacting as if they are priests and the parishioners. No. It's not even a time to pray. It's a time to come closer and touch each other and say good things to each other. As a couple, you have to do most things together. Nothing stops you from bathing together. You eat together. You walk together. Sleep on the same bed. You cuddle each other. This period of doing that, such make a family better. Number 2, listen to each other. Sometimes you get into a relationship, the wife is not the listening type. As the husband is talking, she is responding. Sometimes too is the man. He won't even let the woman say anything. He keeps on saying, listen to me first, listen to me first. In a relationship there will be intimacy, you have to learn to listen. And how do you do that? Number 1, you listen with full attention, with rapt attention. You pay attention as if your life depends on it. And truly, it does. If you must have a good home, you must learn to listen with utmost attention. You cannot be listening to your spouse and you are punching your phone, you are listening to your spouse, you are watching a movie, listening to your wife, and you are listening to news. That's not good listening. Good listeners abandon every other thing to listen to the other person. This is very important for an intimate family relationship. Number 2 thing you have to note while listening is you listen to understand. Often we listen to respond. Listening to respond means while the person is speaking, you are already providing answers to the issues the person is raising in your mind. That's not good listening. You listen to the other person to understand the person's issues, the person's issues, the person's worries, the person's anxieties. You have to understand the person's mind, how the person is conceiving what she's portraying to you. You listen to understand instead of listening to respond or listening to argue. A family is not a place to argue. It's a place to understand each other and get closer every day. Number 3, daily give your spouse statements of affirmation of goodness and compliments, and be specific in your compliments. Don't just give general compliment. Thank you, my husband, because you are good. That's not any tangible compliment. Commend him for his efforts in bringing money home. Commend him for paying the children's bills. Commend him for taking care of you. Thank him for the time he gave you a ride to malls, to supermarkets. Thank him for being patient with you. And you too, as a man, you should learn to commend your wife for her efforts in the home, for maintaining the home, for caring for the children, for even taking care of you. Women take care of men. Yeah, truly, they do. They watch over our health. They watch over our recklessness. Sometimes they are even our best financial managers. Commend your wife for helping you to maintain your financial prudence. These things will make us to get closer and closer to each other. Number 4, learn how your spouse gender, reason, and take decision. One common mistake we make in marriage, and I've heard it from 1,001 persons, is my wife doesn't reason like me. My husband is not reasoning like me. And you ask her, how is your husband reasoning? He's always reasoning like men. And then he should reason like men now. And men too say, I don't understand. Women are always reasoning like women. Yeah, a woman is designed to reason like a woman. It is your duty to get documents, get online, and simply ask Google, how does women reason? It will surprise you that you will see various write-ups on the way women reason. But averagely, let me tell you this, men are logical in their reasoning. You want to travel, the man is calculating how many liters will be in the car, or how much money they will need, and how much he will give when they get to where they are going, how much they will spend here and there. The woman is sentimental about the trip. She is thinking of the excitement of the trip, the excitement of getting there. Ask her, do we have enough money? She will just say, no, it's not. The Lord will provide. Men don't like doing the Lord will provide when it comes to doing things. A man wants to look at his pocket and be sure there is enough money there, while women want to use faith to go on a trip without money. So you have to understand how your spouse gender reasoning. There's an average pattern of reasoning for men, and there's an average pattern of reasoning for women. Until you understood this, you'll be complaining of how your gender reason. I used to tell people, if you as a woman or as a man is holding your child on right hand and your spouse is holding on the other hand, both of you are thinking on that same child, how to care for the child, but you are thinking of different things. While the man may be thinking of how to get school fees, you as a woman, you are thinking of how the child will not have fever, how the child will not hurt herself while playing. The same child, but different reasoning. You might be thinking of the physical safety of the child, while the other person is thinking about the emotional safety of the child. Our reasonings are different, and the easiest way to understand it is to read about it. Study how men reason, study how women reason, and then you'll have some of these issues taken care of. We'll have less friction when we understand how each gender reason. Number 5 thing you have to do to nurture intimacy in your marriage is you show sympathy. Understand the feeling of your spouse and let him or her know that you understand and you are willing to assist the person to get better. Don't just say, I don't like the way you used to behave. You know, people talk such things. So sometimes you get involved in counseling young couples, and you know, the woman just took in and she's showing all the signs of pregnancy, vomiting, sleeping, getting drowsy, losing appetite, and the young man quite impatient. Will I be spoon feeding you? Will I be doing all this? And you have to do. It's not right that you just express frustration at the condition of your partner. You are to be there to let your partner know, I am with you in this situation. Sometimes too, you know, men can get worried over unsuccessful business ventures, and a woman now comes around saying, hey, your mates, this is what they are doing and they are making money. It doesn't work for a man. It doesn't work. Let him know that even in that situation when his business is not going on fine, you are still with him. You are not his wife because he has money. You are his wife because you love him. And love is not limited by conditions. Love is forever with the person. So let's understand that in situations where we are facing difficulty, empathy is needed. Not sympathy, not pity. Is that you are reasoning with the person and you are giving the person assurance of your constant support and presence. Number 6, give priority to sexual satisfaction. A marital relationship, a family that neglects sex will have problem. make up your mind in advance to try and satisfy your spouse even before you begin. You know, sometimes, and this is common to men, he is high, he wants to have sex, and all he's interested is in satisfying himself and getting up and going away. It doesn't work that way. You will not be encouraging that woman to want to have sexual intimacy with you again. You should prepare your mind that though I want it, but I want my wife to enjoy it too and get to the peak. So in a marital relationship, you have to give priority to sexual satisfaction. I remember meeting an old man one time, and he said since his wife gave birth to the last child I'm talking about is about 30 years now, he had never had sex with his wife. Sure, they must be having problems. There is no way you can maintain a family relationship without a good attention given to sex. You never outgrow sex. Yeah, the rate may decrease, but you can't altogether take it out. And let's have this in mind, that for our families to be stable and strong, we have to give priority to sex. And there are some women that will say, no, I'm not interested again. We have ended child making, we are no longer raising children. Yeah, you are not raising children again, but you are maintaining yourselves. Sex is not just for child making. It is to give yourself, as spouses, as a family, you are husband and wife, is to give yourself emotional support and provide protection against infidelity. If you deny your spouse sex and you are complaining that your sex is going out to meet men or women, then you are the one at fault. Number 7, take a moment to stop and pay attention to your spouse. Just stop, just look and gaze, and then the person asks, why are you looking at me? And then the person will smile back. Give attention to your spouse. Don't hurry about and have a crashing home. When everything goes down, you come back to your home. The way you relate with your spouse will determine the way the spouse will accept or reject you. Let's build viable relationships by giving attention to one another in the family. Number 8, explore each other's interests. There is a particular couple I found very interesting. I know the husband was not the singing type, and the wife was a chorister. I've seen them severally do video, the woman singing, maybe the man singing soprano, the woman trying to sing in part. It's fun. Yeah, he might not be singing the best by musical standard, but is promoting harmony in the home, intimacy in the home. Take interest in your spouse's endeavors. Your spouse loves playing golf. What stops you from going with him to golf course? Your spouse loves going to movie. What stops you from going? Just do some things together. Maybe your wife likes to just make some handcraft, sew some piece of cloth, join her once in a while, interact on it. It's fun. It's one way to keep yourselves closer and closer until we have a very strong relationship. The last thing I will talk about here, number 9, is that we lend a helping hand to our spouses. Learn to help your spouse. Don't be a critic, don't be a director. Your spouse is doing a task. Maybe you have a flat tire and is trying to jack the car up. Don't just give direction. That is that. That is that. You are not doing it well. No. You can help him with the spanner. He is not saying you should help him to lift the car. Just give him the spanner, give him one thing or the other, and that makes for a good relationship. Same thing with the woman. She's busy in the kitchen. Nothing stops the man from being there. Give her some water, help her with lifting some things, and help her to tidy up the kitchen. It's not too much for a man to do. When you lend a helping hand to your partner, you are promoting better relationship that is going to last for a long time, I pray. Now, finally, I'll speak about things to avoid if you want to have intimate relationship, whatever kind of, either physical or emotional. Number 1 thing is avoid unnecessary arguments and debates. Argument kills our emotion. When you argue with your spouse, You are bringing a reason to avoid each other. So avoid argument as much as possible. Remember, it's a home, it's a family. It's not a debate occasion where each person goes back to his house after the debate. You have your home to keep. Avoid unnecessary argument. Number 2, avoid unforgiveness. You have to learn to forgive, and when you forgive, don't refer back to the incident again. Particularly men, we are fond of saying, that's how you did the other time, that's how you did the other time. The other time has gone. Stop acting like a scratch disc that says the same thing over and over again. When you are offended and you are forgiven, let that be the end of reference to it. Number 3, avoid asking too many questions. When you ask too many questions, you learn too many things. And in learning too many things, there is vanity. You are going to hurt yourself. I remember the case of a young man. His girlfriend traveled and then went to another town to process some papers. Then the young man called, "Are you returning today?" The lady said, "No, it's late. I couldn't finish what I have to do, but I'll get somewhere to sleep." When the lady came the other day, the following day, "Where did you sleep yesterday?" "I slept with this man." "Did he touch you?" When you ask too many questions, you know too many things. And when you know too many things, you get into trouble. I hope you understand me. You get into trouble. Ask few questions. Don't dig too deep into a mess. Because in my culture, in my tribe here, we have a proverb that says, someone that says he will let you know everything actually is going to make you lose all joys. If you are going to hear everything, you are going to lose all your joys. Ask few questions that are necessary and ignore the rest. Number 4, avoid unhealthy comparison. Don't compare your husband to another man, and don't compare your wife to another person. Stop comparing your spouses, because each person is unique. Your spouse, your wife, your husband is unique to you, and you just have to take that person simply as he or her is. The last thing I'll say there is, stop competing against each other. A family is not a place to compete. Oh, my wife has masters, me too, I must get masters. My wife has PhD, I must get PhD. My wife has plenty money, I must make sure I get all the money, more than she can ever try to get. You are not competing. In a home, we are to complement each other. We are not competing against each other. Stop this unhealthy competition. Your wife might be blessed with money more than you. That has not reduced your manness. And that your husband has more contact than you does not mean you are no longer a woman. You just have to learn to know that each person is laboring to bring a single family into place. So when we do this, I believe we'll have stronger families. Thank you. God bless you. My prayer is that your home will be a place of peace, joy, intimacy, and happiness. Thank you. See you next time.